Sup, Nerdmigos? I'm the Jive Talking Nerd, John Norgrove. We've got Wife here. We're back at it again for another Trek Jive. This is the Season 1, Episode 10, Strange New Worlds, the season finale.
Yeah.
So, oof. It's over. That sucks.
Yeah. I'm definitely filled with a deep ennui about this season being over.
If you have not seen this episode, before we get even into the business, if you have not seen this episode, it is recommended. It was recommended to me by our dear friend Alexa, who also does Star Trek reviews. Check her channel out. She's awesome. But she recommended rewatching the original TOS episode, Balance of Terror, before watching this. And so that's what we did. We watched Balance of Terror, and then we watched this, and then I worked a bunch and rewatched it before shooting this review. But we watched Balance of Terror before watching this episode, which is A Quality of Mercy. And let me tell you what, that is the correct way to experience this episode.
Yeah.
Like, and if you can do it like immediately, like Balance of Terror, and then immediately start this, that's even better. We did Balance of Terror like one night, and then this the next night. But even then, there are like amazing this is basically the standard issue Star Trek time shenanigans recontextualizing past events thing. So think of like when DS9 went back to the Trouble with Tribbles episode of the original series. You remember that episode of DS9? No, when like Ben and all them get like shenaniganed into the past. And then they're like, we're on the Enterprise with Trouble with Tribbles. Ugh. Right? Or like the Voyager episode where come to find out Tuvok served on the Excelsior during Sulu's captainhood in one of the Star Trek movies. I don't remember which Star Trek movie now. Oof, that's bad. I don't know. Generations? It's a guess. I don't remember which one it is. But they do that in Voyager. They kind of always do. I'm trying to think if there's something like that in Next Generation, and there must be, and my brain
there's got to be. There's so many shenanigans.
But you know, it's that like we're gonna go back to some stuff that happened in the past and look at what happened if it was slightly different, or like the camera was set at a different angle or whatever. Like it's a classic Star Trek thing. They did a fantastic job because this is like, we're getting right into the business of this. So before we get into spoilers and stuff, don't forget to like this video, comment below, share, subscribe, ring the bell, and do all that kind of stuff. We're going to get into spoilers and kind of go from there, right? Yeah. So this is basically Pike, future Pike in those fucking sweet uniforms, those original series movie uniforms. Yeah. I love those uniforms. They're very, obviously they inform Zach Brannigan's outfit. Like incredibly, but like I love those uniforms so much. So he shows up, like future him shows up, and it's just like, hey, guess what? I know you're writing a letter to like stop that kid from joining Starfleet, so that way he doesn't like die in the thing, but that's gonna ruin the future. Let me show you. Which I love that he's like, that's gonna ruin the future. Also, the Klingons allowed me to show you. Like, I love that the Klingons are the arbiters of fucking time travel in this series.
Yeah.
It's so great.
Like, I love it. They don't really go back and, like, reference that later, because I was like, oh, weird. Why the Klingons? What does the future look like?
Well, but it's because that's how Pike learned the first time. The Klingons have a temple that got time crystals in it, what with let you experience your future or your past, right? So, and it's like a sacred monk temple thing. And so it just happens that the Klingons live on a world or have a world that has like
time crystals.
Like time crystals, right? We've all seen Rick and Morty. That's the bit.
Yeah.
So like it was that sort of a shenan, right? But so basically he gets sent forwards and he gets sent into the episode. He gets sent forwards in time to the moment of the episode of A Balance of Terror, where in the original series, Kirk is the captain of the Enterprise, right? And all of those shenanigans happen. And in this version of reality, Pike retained captainhood of the Enterprise because he wasn't like all fired up and shit from that plasma explosion. And yeah, you heard me. He wasn't all charbroiled. But so he retains captainhood, and Kirk is the captain of the Farragut.
Yeah.
Which is which does not last very long, but that's okay. It's the Farragut. But so we get to experience sort of like how Pike would have handled the situation, which was significantly more like restrained and peaceful and less Kirk's kind of a dick and brash about this stuff. And because of that, it showed a sign of weakness. Basically, it allowed communication to happen back to Romulus, and then it showed a sign of weakness in the eyes of the Romulans that where they were just like, oh, these guys aren't actually that tough. I guess murder? And then that's what they did.
Yeah.
Right? There was a lot of like almost exact duplicate line delivery from the supporting cast where he was having to deal with that situation. There was a lot of very exacting like shots and beats, like exactly the same as from Balance of Terror, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
Right? This felt very much like this is the thing that you know. Here is some like new context in like an alternate timeline sort of thing, which was really, really cool. That we got to see all of that. The Romulans were dope. It was like upgraded, but like not like Discovery Klingons upgraded.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Where people are like, hey, man.
Who's that?
What is this? And they're like, we're the Klingon Empire. And you're like, you're not a Klingon. What are you? What is happening right now? You know, it's not like that. It's not like that extreme. But I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I feel like Strange New Worlds is like hyper aware of the fact that what it needs to do is be like TOS, like a little bit more modern, right?
Yeah.
Like this whole show, and this episode especially, really indicates towards this vibe of like, this is what we would have got given the technology were available at the time and budget, obviously, to do this.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
Like there were physical, technological, and financial limitations back in the day that presented us with this grand story that we all fell in love with and has given birth to all of this.
All of this.
Right?
Yeah.
But we also don't want to, because like the complainers out there, in my opinion, would still complain even if it was like we rebuilt the original sets like out of the graveyard. They'd be like, well, why doesn't it look as good as it's supposed to, whatever. Or like, and frankly, rewatching Balance of Terror recently, like, you often forget through the lens of memory, like, precisely how campy the original series was. And I love the original series. Do not get me wrong, do I love the original series, but it is way campier than you think. Yeah. Like if it's been a while since you've seen it or whatever. And especially episodes that are like Balance of Terror, this one's based off of. That's when they start doing that like submarine battle style Star Trek, which was like a whole thing that Roddenberry was big on, was like it should feel like a submarine battle. You know, it should feel like a ship battle from World War II, like that kind of a thing, right? And you really get that in Balance of Terror, but it also still has that like, you know, like it has that vibe. And you get that in this. There's a couple of scenes where they do that very classic TOS, like camera pulls in and it's just like a bar of light across the eyes with like, shadow above and below sort of a thing to really highlight the emotions in the eyes and the face. And they also used some of the musical stings, but a little bit more updated, which was nice. So like, again, this was a great episode. Honestly, this was a great way to end the season. This really, like one of the big overarching stories for season 1 is how is Pike gonna cope with knowing his future? And we got that answer. It's that he has to accept his future, whether he wants to or not, because if he doesn't, Romulan War 2.0.
Yeah.
Right? Which is very interesting. That we kind of got that story wrapped up. I mean, I believe that we'll touch on it again, but in my opinion, for the most part, we got the end of that. Yeah. And as that ends, we got the beginning of next season's story, which is they took Una away because she's
genetically modified,
right? Yeah. Who are genetically modified peeps. So like now we have to do that, and I think what I hope we're gonna get out of that is a lot of like, is it wrong for us to be like judgy about this, blah 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 blah, right? Because the Federation's hate is like founded in history.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that it's like right for them to be oppressive now about it.
Yeah.
So this is going to be very interesting. I'm very interested to see where they go with season 2. I love this show to death. We're definitely going to watch season 2.
It's going to bring up some really interesting societal questions. I think that they're really... I think that Strange New Worlds and also like on the flip side of that is Orville are really bringing up like that kind of like classic sci-fi and classic Roddenberry thing where they're forcing you to look at issues in society through the lens of this future spacefaring society.
Yeah, totally.
And that's the thing that I think is super interesting. Not that other Star Trek properties don't do that, but I think that the treatment of it for both this show, SNW, and the Orville is so much closer to the original Star Trek.
It's certainly
in that
the
respect.
modern interpretation of it.
Yeah.
Right? Like Discovery's good, and I like Discovery, but like I don't know that they're really presenting the issues so much as holding up like the more correct like the ideals that should be held up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is a different way to do that
Discovery is
story.
telling us stories that have morals, basically.
Yeah.
And I think that SNW is forcing us to ask questions.
Yeah, totally.
And I
Which
think
is
that's
a little bit
really
more
the two different
like
sides of that.
TOS, TNG. I think Strange New Worlds is absolutely fantastic. And
Yeah.
I mean, Lower Decks, notwithstanding, Lower Decks is a great show. I think that it presents the same sort of existential dread, but in a very like Rick and Morty-esque, silly, cartoony, punchliney way. And I think that the kids show, Prodigy, is presenting the same thing, but in a very simplified way, because the show is, in my opinion, obviously targeted towards a younger demographic. So you can't be bringing up these like big heavy questions in these very complicated manners.
But they
are
still bringing up
but they are doing
questions,
it, and that's so classic Star Trek to do that, to like present these big questions and to show the things that society isn't. I mean, the term nowadays is woke, but like to show things that society is like maybe not willing to directly look at the moment or accept. That is something Star Trek has always done. It's something science fiction has always done, but especially Star Trek has always done, even since the original series. Like haters be damned. What are you gonna do?
Well, and I think that this last like year's worth of Star Trek is really important in that, because we've gotten such a different like an interesting perspective on different shows. So really, I think what's happening with the Star Trek universe that I am absolutely head over heels for, however I feel about individual shows or episodes from those shows, is what they're doing is they're crafting a Star Trek universe where you can pick and choose your Star Trek adventure.
Yeah.
If you want it to be more old school, watch this show. If you want it to be more story based, watch this show. If you want it to be a little funnier, watch this show. And I think that it's the thing that Disney isn't doing with their Star Wars properties.
I agree.
And I think that that's the huge difference here is, yes, there are a lot of people that are like, oh, it's not like old Trek. It's woke, but old Trek was woke. But also different people want different things. If you want the old thing, go back and watch the old thing.
We watch DS9 and TNG like literally every day. So
thank you, BBC America.
Yeah, thank you, BBC America.
But I think that it's really cool because, like, especially seeing the ending of this particular season, like, we're really seeing a new era of Star Trek where it's trying to reach out to demographics and to an audience that may not have ever really been interested in Star Trek. And I super love it. I grew up watching Star Trek, although not nearly as much as you did.
That's probably fair. I don't think very many people have watched Star Trek as much as I have. It's a problem.
So, as someone who, before we got married, was just a casual fan of Star Trek, it's really cool to see the way that it's evolving and to see the way that Paramount is sort of setting up this greater universe that I wish that, a lot of other big, ventures would do. Like, you see that this is happening with Marvel a bit, although Marvel still definitely requires you to watch all of the pieces to understand.
They're trying, but they don't understand that there needs to be separation, because this is the thing: if you don't watch Strange New Worlds and instead you're like I hate this show, it's dumb, I don't care about the past, I only want to watch Lower Decks,
or
this
Picard.
does nothing.
Yeah.
Or you only want to watch Picard. Or like if you're just like, I hate Picard, I don't want to watch Picard, and you watch Lower Decks and Strange New Worlds. Fine. There's no connection. There's just different shows.
Yeah.
Like, you don't, like, okay, sure. Do you need to know who Picard and his friends are from TNG to watch Picard? Yeah, sure. But also, the whole point of that is, Picard's tagline should be like, Star Trek Picard. Did you watch TNG and you want more of that shit? Because that's what we're bringing.
Yeah, exactly. It's
more
like
of that
catching
shit,
up with old things, and it's something that
honestly,
Marvel
you don't
is
even
trying
need to
to
have
do,
watched TOS
and it's something
to
that
watch
Star
Strange New
Wars
Worlds.
is not doing well
No.
at all.
No.
Because
And
all of their
Marvel's
new
not
properties are
doing,
really
Marvel's not doing a great job with
all
that
of the new
either.
properties are really hitting like things where you need to either have the existing knowledge of the system of that world,
Yeah.
or you need to have other things. And honestly, like the universe that really has done it probably the best is the Harry Potter universe, because they have really tried to bring in outside stories that sort of tie in but aren't required for you to watch.
Oh,
to
like
understand. in the newer Fantastic Beasts
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, totally.
Yeah, and maybe we'll see that with George R.R. Martin's Game of Thrones and offshoot stuff, and maybe we'll see that with Amazon and Rings of Power.
Yeah.
But I don't think that we're gonna see it with as much finesse and as much diversity as we currently have in the Star Trek universe.
I think that Star Trek also has the added benefit of like just having the most amount of physical content to work with.
Yes.
Right? And they have this huge time span to work with, and you're sort of like free in the Trek universe. Like if they had tried to do this during TNG, people would have been like, "Hey, listen, back up a bit much."
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But there was a time when we had like Voyager and DS9 on the air at the same time, and so like there's a lot, but also Star Trek has like a metric shitload of books. And all sort of fan stuff, and all the Star Trek Online, the video game, to like test shit out in. What's up, the Klingon Federation Alliance thing that the whatever Khitomer Alliance battleships from Star Trek Online are awesome looking. I have a couple of them from Eagle Moss, but so no, this is such a great show. Speaking of Eagle Moss, maybe they do a Strange New Worlds Enterprise original series build. I'm just putting that out there, guys.
I'm sure you would want
do that. I would want that in a second. I'm like 20 kits into my Enterprise D build, so we're like almost halfway there, I think.
Yeah.
And because I think it's 50 kits or something, right?
Oh, I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know, whatever. I think we're like halfway there mostly, with like a fully lit like 3-foot long Enterprise D. Check out my social media to look at the updates and stuff on it. But it's such a fun build.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I love model making, so like do more of that. Give me some. Honestly, because this Enterprise is different than Pike's Enterprise from Discovery.
Yeah.
A little bit, but just different enough. And there are no models of this Enterprise out available yet to purchase. There's only models of the Discovery version. And I like the Discovery version and it's nice, but I want to hold out to buy a model kit from this version. This is just like a nicer Enterprise. They made a couple of tweaks that I think make it like a lot cooler looking. So fingers crossed somebody gets on making a model of that. Or if you know somebody who garage kits them, like I'll buy a garage kit. I used to do that all the time for stuff, so that was back in the day. That's old Star Trek model building. Garage kits. When just like a dude in his garage is the only one making quality products for Star Trek. Also more Star Trek toys. Let's get on it, Star Trek. Star Wars is kicking our asses in toys. Let's get some more toys out there. I'm a grown-ass adult with money. I want toys.
Yeah, so now that we're done with Strange New Worlds...
Well, so
here's what to expect until the next series comes out.
Yeah,
which Lower Decks, I
think Lower Decks is supposed to come out, but I don't know when. I feel like it should come out like next week or like in a couple of weeks, but like I also feel like the internet hasn't been telling me like exactly what's going on with that. So I don't know what the deal is with that. If we don't have a proper like new Trek episode to watch, we will either review a Star Trek movie or we will review some classic episode that came up.
Yeah.
Whether through watching on like BBC or like we decide to call up like a Voyager or something random, like maybe we'll do like the 2-part mirror universe episodes from Enterprise, like no context for you to watch. That'll be fun, because the Enterprise mirror universe episodes are like way sexier than they need to be. You're like, oh, what? This is okay, So it was a time. But so yeah, maybe we'll do something like that. But yeah, we're always still gonna have Trek come out weekly, regardless of the fact that weekly might be late by almost a whole week. But yeah, so we're still gonna have a Trek thing. We'll probably do a movie next. We have the Star Trek wine, so maybe we'll do like a movie and wine pairing.
Wine and a movie.
Sort of a thing. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, this was a fantastic end to an absolute fantastic show. I enjoyed Prodigy.
Well, end of the season.
End of the season. Yeah. Sorry, not end of the show. End of the season. I enjoy Prodigy. I enjoy Picard. I am in love with Lower Decks. There's something about that show that is all 100% I'm into it.
Yeah.
I'm so in love with Lower Decks. And I enjoy Discovery a bunch. Especially this latest season has been fantastic. I like to see us moving forwards in time in Star Trek. I mean, we skipped like a bunch of stuff, so maybe do some shit in there, guys. But like, again, I'm very excited about all of that. And I know there are rumors about doing like a Starfleet Academy show, or maybe doing some more like B ship shows. So like not like flagship of the Federation, but just like some guys kind of a show or whatever. And there's also rumors about like some Star Trek movies maybe being in the works or whatever. But I would say that New Trek, this is my favorite. Without a doubt. This show is gorgeous. I love the crew. Pike is fan-fucking-tastic as a captain. Pike over here being like, I see all these people at the top of your list of captains. What's going on with the top of that list? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'm in some, I haven't like figured it in my head yet, but I'm in some conflict of interest with regard to best captains right now. I mean, like,
I find it hard to believe that anybody could unseat Janeway.
Janeway's still number one. Like, don't doubt that. Janeway's always number one. Janeway's the best captain. If you want to question anything about that, blow up the warp core. See what happens, bitch. Like, that's right. Self-destruct.
She's very fuck around and find out.
Yeah, she's very fuck around and find out. I fucking love Janeway. Voyager is like my favorite Trek show of all time. It's perfect. But like, oof, I don't know, man. Pike might be number 2.
It's super tough.
Pike might be number 2, and then Picard number 3, and I love Jean-Luc.
It's super tough because I really love Michael Burnham as a captain.
Yeah, she's a great captain, but I mean, like, Jean-Luc or
like,
Pike?
But like the ratio of female captains to male captains is
not there. Yeah, like Archer is way down at the bottom. And I even like Archer as a captain. This is the problem, is that I like all of them too, as captains, but like, down here. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with more Strange New Worlds, and we'll see what happens with what we do next week for Star Trek, because I don't have a plan yet. We'll see what's going on.
We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out. So either way, I've been John Norgrove. This has been Wife. This has been Trek Jive. We watched the season finale of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Season 1, Episode 10, A Quality of Mercy. And so let us know what you thought of this episode. Have you seen a Balance of Terror recently? And if you haven't, but you have seen Strange New Worlds, like, go watch Balance of Terror. Come back, tell me what you thought about the two of them side by side, because it's a totally different viewing experience than if we had just gone into this cult. Like, I remember Balance of Terror, but like not with the like camera shot angle, like decisive, like fine point stuff. Yeah. And they really hit the nail on this one. Yeah. So yeah, definitely worth a try. Again, shout out to Alexa for that. That was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So banger suggestion.
Yeah.
But yeah, we will catch you guys next time. What does Pike say? Hit it? Is it hit it? Hit it. Hit it. No. I always forget what he says. I don't know why. Right? Whatever, man. Engage. You know all of it. Right? It's probably coffee in that nebula, so that's where we're going to go next.